Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving deep into Atomic Habits today by James Clear.
Oh, yeah, this one's a classic.
It really is. This book has helped so many people make real changes in their lives.
It's all about small changes, right?
Yeah, it's about those tiny improvements that add up over time.
And how those tiny changes can lead to huge results.
Exactly. So Atomic Habits, huh?
What'd you think when you first heard that title?
Honestly, I kind of pictured like a science textbook or something,
Uh-huh.
but it's
Yeah.
a great analogy when you think about it.
Oh, absolutely. Just like atoms are these tiny building blocks of everything
Atomic habits are those small, everyday actions.
that can end up shaping our lives in a big way.
I think what I love most about this book
Yeah,
is that it's not about making these drastic overnight changes.
right. It's not about that.
It's about those small 1% improvements that compound over time.
It's like that saying, right? Consistency is key.
Totally. And Clear gives us this framework for making those habits stick.
The 4 laws of behavior change.
Okay, so let's break those down.
Sounds good.
The first one, make it obvious.
Hmm.
What does that actually look like in practice?
Well, it's about being aware of what triggers your habits.
Okay. Both the good and the bad ones.
Exactly. And then you can start designing cues for the good habits you want to build.
So it's like being intentional about setting yourself up for success.
Exactly. Like if you want to read more,
Yeah,
don't just leave the book on your bedside table.
right.
Put it right on your pillow so you can't miss it.
I like that. You're removing any excuses.
Exactly. You're making it super obvious what you need to do.
Okay, what about the second law?
Make it attractive.
Oh, this one sounds fun.
It is. This is where you tap into your motivations.
And your reward system.
Exactly. Like let's say you want to start meditating,
Mm,
but you just can't seem to stick with it.
yeah, I've been there.
Try pairing it with something you enjoy.
Okay, like listening to music or something.
Exactly. Or maybe lighting a scented candle.
Ah, so you're making it a more enjoyable experience.
Exactly. And the third law is make it easy.
Which seems pretty self-explanatory.
Right. It's all about reducing friction.
But in a world full of distractions,
Yeah, that can be tough.
any tips for making things easier?
Well, one thing is breaking those habits into smaller steps.
Okay.
You know, Clear's 2-minute rule.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
It's basically about starting with a habit that takes less than 2 minutes to do.
So, like, if I want to run a marathon,
Uh-huh.
I should just put on my running shoes for 2 minutes.
Exactly. It sounds silly, but it helps you overcome that initial resistance,
I can see how that would be helpful.
especially when you're feeling overwhelmed.
Totally. Okay, and the last law.
Make it satisfying.
So rewarding yourself.
Yeah. That's how you reinforce those positive loops in your brain.
But how do you find rewards that actually work?
It's about finding rewards that align with your goals.
Okay.
Like if you're trying to eat healthier,
Yeah.
rewarding yourself with a pizza probably isn't the best idea.
Haha, right. Good point.
So maybe it's a new workout outfit.
Ooh. Yeah, I like that.
Or treating yourself to a healthy meal you really enjoy.
Okay, so we've got our cues, we've got our rewards,
Yeah, we're getting there.
and we're trying to make those habits as easy as possible.
But there's more to it than that.
Oh, what else is there?
Clear also dives into the mindset behind habit formation.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
It's not just about the mechanics, but about who we want to be.
Okay, so it's about identity.
Exactly. It's about shifting from being goal-oriented to identity-oriented.
So instead of saying, I want to lose weight,
You say, I am a healthy person.
interesting. So you're aligning your actions with your desired identity.
Exactly. It's a much stronger foundation for lasting change.
It's like you're reprogramming your beliefs about yourself,
In a way, yeah.
and that influences your actions.
It's pretty powerful stuff. Yeah, it
Yeah.
really makes you think about how much our beliefs shape our actions.
Totally. But how do we actually put this idea into practice?
How do we bridge that gap between our desired identity and our current habits?
Right. Like it's one thing to say, I am a healthy person.
But how do you make it a reality?
Exactly.
Well, Clear introduces a couple of other concepts.
Okay.
The habit loop and the plateau of latent potential.
Plateau of latent potential.
I know it sounds kind of complicated,
A little bit, yeah.
but it's actually a pretty simple idea.
Okay.
Think of it like an ice cube melting.
Okay.
At first, nothing seems to be happening, right?
And the S cube is just sitting there.
Because even though you can't see it.
Temperature is rising.
Exactly. And then
The
some
base cube melts. So it's like our efforts are building up, even if we don't see results right away.
Exactly. It's about trusting the process and being consistent.
And that's where the habit loop comes in.
Right. It's this cycle that gets wired into our brains.
Cue, craving, response, reward.
And the more we repeat that loop,
The more automatic the habit becomes.
it's like creating a groove in your brain.
So we want to design those loops to support our good habits.
Absolutely. And Clear offers some strategies for doing just that.
Okay, like what?
Well, there's habit stacking.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
It's basically linking a new habit to an existing one.
So, like,
If you already brush your teeth every morning,
yeah.
you could meditate for a minute right after.
Ah, so you're using that existing habit as a trigger.
Exactly.
I like that it makes those new habits less intimidating.
And then there's implementation intentions.
What are those?
It's basically planning out when and where you'll do the habit.
So instead of saying, I'll work out more.
You say, I'll work out for 30 minutes at 7 a.m. every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Wow, so specific.
Exactly. It removes any ambiguity.
This is all making a lot of sense. But what about breaking bad habits?
Ah, yes, the other side of the coin.
Does Clear talk about that too?
Oh, yeah. He suggests basically inverting those 4 laws.
So to break a bad habit.
Make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying.
Interesting.
Like, let's say you're trying to cut back on social media.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
You could delete those apps from your phone to make the cue invisible. Or remind yourself how much time you're wasting to make it unattractive.
So you're basically making it less tempting.
Exactly.
This is so helpful. It feels like we're gaining real tools to change our behavior.
That's the power of understanding the psychology behind our actions.
And Atomic Habits does a great job of explaining that.
It's not about quick fixes.
It's about creating a sustainable framework for growth.
And that's something we can all benefit from.
This has been such an insightful discussion so far.
I agree.
What's one message you hope our listeners take away from this deep dive?
That's a good question.
What really stood out to you?
You know, I think it's this idea that our habits shape our destiny.
Our habits shape our destiny.
It's a powerful thought.
It really is.
It reminds us that we have the power to create the life we want.
One small step at a time.
Exactly. And it's never too late to start.
Well said. As we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to challenge our listeners to think about one small change they can make
What small action can you take today?
to align with the person you want to become.
It doesn't have to be anything huge.
Remember the power of atomic habits.
Those tiny changes can add up to amazing results.
So we're back talking Atomic Habits.
One of my favorite books.
This one's packed with so many good ideas.
It really is. I always find myself coming back to it.
It's like every time we revisit it,
Yeah,
there's a new layer of insight.
absolutely. There's always something new to learn.
For me, one of the biggest takeaways this time,
Yeah.
it's remembering that even when we feel stuck,
Oh, yeah, when we're on that plateau of latent potential.
exactly, like that ice cube analogy,
Our efforts are still making a difference.
it's just happening beneath the surface.
It's like a seed being planted.
Ooh, I like that.
You can't see the roots growing underground.
Right, but they're still there.
And eventually it'll sprout.
So it's all about trusting the process.
And being consistent.
Right, it's about showing up every day
And making those small choices.
that move us closer to who we want to be.
It's those tiny actions that make all the difference.
And Atomic Habits really emphasizes that.
It's not about finding that perfect motivation.
Or some overnight solution.
It's about building those small habits.
And letting them compound over time.
And that's what makes it so empowering.
Because it reminds us that we have the power.
To shape our own lives.
And it's never too late to start.
So true.
So as we wrap up our deep dive,
Hmm.
I'm curious, what's one small action you plan to take today?
Ooh. To align with who I want to be.
Exactly. What's one atomic habit for you?
You know, I've been thinking about this.
Yeah.
I want to start setting aside some time each evening
Okay.
to just disconnect from technology
Ooh, I like that.
and just do something relaxing.
Like what?
Maybe read a book or spend time with family.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Or even just enjoy some quiet time.
It's so important to recharge.
It really is.
What about you? What's your atomic habit for today?
I'm going to recommit to my morning meditation practice.
Even if it's just for a few minutes?
Exactly. It just helps me start the day, right?
I think those are both great examples.
Of how we can bring these ideas into our lives.
It doesn't have to be anything drastic.
Right. Just small, consistent actions.
And remember, even if you slip up,
don't beat yourself up about it.
it's about progress, not perfection.
Exactly. Just get back on track and keep going.
Those tiny changes add up over time.
They really do.
So keep those atomic habits in mind.
And keep making those 1% improvements.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into atomic habits.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing.
And keep diving deep.